Welcome back to Silent Confessions, the channel where secrets unravel and desires ignite. Today, I'm bringing you a story that will leave you breathless, one that blurs the line between passion and heartbreak. So buckle up, grab a glass of wine, and prepare for a tale that you won't forget, a true story of intimacy, betrayal, and longing. A spring morning to remember. In a quest to rekindle their fading love, Amanda plans a heartfelt picnic with her husband Ryan, leading to moments of intimacy that reignite the passion they thought was lost. It was one of those flawless spring mornings that seemed almost too perfect to be real. Amanda had been planning this picnic for weeks. Life with her husband Ryan had settled into a predictable rhythm, a series of routines devoid of the passion that once defined them. The picnic was meant to be more than just a pleasant afternoon in the park. Amanda poured herself into the details. The night before, she baked golden biscuits that crumbled perfectly, packed turkey sandwiches layered with sharp cheddar and ripe, juicy tomatoes, and prepared a fruit salad laced with the sweetest strawberries of the season. Determined, she pushed the nostalgia aside. Today had to be different. Ryan, ever pragmatic, offered to bring their old checkered blanket, a relic from simpler times when their love had been spontaneous, wild, and untamed. There had been camping trips when that blanket was both their refuge and their playground of whispered dreams and stolen touches beneath a star-drenched sky. Her fingers traced the faded fabric as bittersweet memories swirled in her mind, wondering if they could ever rekindle what they had lost. The morning began quietly in their small kitchen, where the aroma of scrambled eggs and freshly brewed coffee mingled with the lingering scent of Amanda's perfume. She walked in gracefully, dressed in a silk robe that clung lightly to her body, its looseness hinting at curves naturally revealed to the sunlight through the window. Ryan looked up from his newspaper, his eyes softening briefly. "Good morning, sunshine," he murmured, his tone warm but lacking the electric charge of old. Amanda smiled faintly but leaned against the counter, hoping he would notice. Maybe he wasn't deliberately distant. Maybe he was just distracted. Her hope clung tightly to the faint shimmer of her perfume, the same one he used to find intoxicating. It was Amanda's silent invitation for him to really see her again, but Ryan's gaze quickly turned back to his coffee, oblivious. As the two drove to the park later, Amanda sat quietly, her thoughts elsewhere. Sunlight danced on her skin as she traced the edge of her floral dress nervously. Ryan, humming along with the crackling radio, seemed at ease, his rugged jawline sharp in the crisp morning light. She glanced sideways, caught between admiration and frustration. He was still the man she fell in love with, but did he still feel the same spark? Had they simply grown complacent, or had passion been extinguished entirely? The park spread out before them like a painting brought to life, meadows brimming with wildflowers, a vibrant sea of color basking beneath an endless azure sky. Ryan chose a secluded spot under a sprawling oak tree, its branches creating an intimate canopy of dappled sunlight and shade. The setup was almost automatic for him, but Amanda, watching him spread that weathered blanket, felt a flicker of nostalgia mixed with longing. As they unpacked the basket together, their hands bumped lightly. Amanda caught the moment and raised her gaze to Ryan's. For a heartbeat, she swore she saw something, an ember of his old tenderness. Her breath caught, but he looked away all too quickly, packing sandwiches with an unnecessary focus. The gesture was small, but it chipped at her lingering doubts. Could any of this still be salvaged? Lunch was light and seemingly unremarkable at first. Turkey sandwiches and bites of fruit watched over by a quietly swaying oak. But then Amanda teased Ryan with a strawberry, laughing openly. That laugh, it wasn't just any laugh. It was playful, with shades of the earlier Amanda, light-hearted and flirtatious. Ryan looked up, his brows lifting slightly in surprise. "You used to live for moments like these," Amanda teased softly. Her smile was bright, but her eyes carried an unspoken vulnerability, a plea for acknowledgement veiled in laughter. Ryan smirked faintly, reached over, and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. It wasn't much, but it was deliberate, an old reflex lingering in muscle memory. "I still do," he said, his voice quieter now. Amanda's heart fluttered, though she quickly smoothed her expression. She didn't want to hope too much, only to be disappointed. Later, Amanda leaned back on the blanket, basking in sunlight. She stretched her legs out, her dress inching up just high enough to reveal sunlit skin. The warmth of the sun caressed her thighs, but what startled her, what warmed her more than the sun, was Ryan's gaze. Amanda smiled curiously, lifting herself on one elbow. She reached for a strawberry and held it up to his lips. His hesitation was brief before he leaned in, closing his teeth around the fruit as his lips brushed against her fingertips. Sensing his attention fully on her for the first time that day, Amanda spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's been so long since we've had a moment like this." She placed her hand lightly on his arm, trailing her fingers down and savoring the quiet intimacy of that touch. Ryan's response felt slow yet deliberate, his hand coming to rest on her thigh. "Too long," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion and something more carnal brewing beneath. Amanda shifted, straddling him without hesitation, daring her fears to evaporate in the heat of the moment. The world around them dissolved. Amanda was hyper-aware of every sensation. Ryan's strong hands anchoring her hips, the fiery trail of his lips down her neck, the warm breeze drifting against her flushed skin. Each touch reignited memories of a fire that had never truly gone out, but had lain dormant, waiting, begging for air to breathe. Their movements were natural, yet deliberate, fueled by mutual desire. Amanda's fingers reached under his shirt, tracing the defined lines of his chest. Meanwhile, Ryan's hands tightened their grip, both possessive and tender. When they broke apart for air, the sounds of their ragged breathing intertwined. Amanda rested her forehead against Ryan's, trembling slightly as the intensity of it all crashed over her. "I don't want this to end," she whispered, her voice trembling under the weight of vulnerability. Ryan's hand cradled her cheek, his thumb brushing against the corner of her lips. "It doesn't have to," he promised, his voice steady. "We can make this ours again." The rest of their day unwound lazily beneath the oak. Touches turned from fiery to comforting, and whispers became promises. With every kiss, every shared gaze, and every careless laugh, they built a bridge back to each other. Not to how they had been before, but something richer, harder earned, but undeniably beautiful. As the sun sank low, painting the horizon with ribbons of gold and pink, Amanda curled into Ryan's chest. She felt safe, seen, cherished. The woman she had always been, but so often doubted he noticed. For Ryan, her touch still lingered on his skin like a caress. Her laughter was his world distilled into a sound. In those moments, a new memory joined the old, layering the relic of their blanket with yet another story of shared love and renewal. And as Amanda closed her eyes under the encroaching dusk, her heart swelled with quiet hope. A hope she would no longer guard so tightly, for she knew now they still had the capacity to create magic together. Today had been their new beginning. And that's where we'll leave Amanda and Ryan, on the cusp of rediscovery, where passion meets possibility. Their story reminds us that even in the quietest moments, the loudest emotions can rise to the surface. But is this rekindled spark enough to heal the fractures of time, or will it fade as quickly as it ignited? If you've ever felt the pull of desire, the longing for what once was, or the hope for what could be, let me know in the comments. Have you ever faced a crossroads in your own relationships? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Silent Confessions, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story of love, betrayal, and the secrets we all keep. Until next time, stay curious and stay true to yourself.